Just a couple days ago, the fine folks over at Kemper finally released the official public release of OS 10, which features the long-awaited addition of liquid profiling. Now, I did do a video about this back when it was just in beta, and this really isn't new news. There have been a couple little tweaks to the finished product, some new amp models, a couple new things in Rig Manager, but overall it's basically acting as it did when it was in beta. And I'm sure there's been some improvements under the hood, but it's really great to know that we finally have the public release. Well, I'm going to take you through that today and give you some examples of just what liquid profiling is, how it works, and how you might be able to utilize it while using your Kemper profiler. Today, I'm also announcing that I've released my Fried Taco Kemper Ultimate Rig Collection for the Kemper platform. And this is a set of profiles based off of my incredible Friedman Pink Taco version 2, but actually going through the speaker of my hand-wired Marshall 1974X. Now, why did I choose this? I wanted to go for kind of a vintage vibe on this. And this speaker is a Celestion G12 M20 Heritage speaker. They call it an age speaker to really give it that broken in kind of vintage sound of an older greenback speaker. And I got to say, it is a really killer speaker. So I really tried to dial these in to get more of a little bit on the dark side of things and a little more vintage vibe to it, but I thought they turned out really, really nice. So I'm going to take you through today, not only the individual profiles and rigs, but also how I utilize liquid profiling along with the built-in model of the Friedman B+E model. Now, this is interesting because that's not the same amp. The Pink Taco is not the Friedman BE100. So how does it work? Well, you can still get some great results, but I'm also going to give you some examples of when we do have the actual amp we're profiling in there and just how great a feature this can be. So without further ado, first of all, we're going to take a look at the different rigs in the new Fried Taco Ultimate Kemper collection, and then we'll take a little deeper look at the liquid profiling. So for now, I have my Gibson Les Paul 60s Standard, and what you're going to see here is I have a few different rigs loaded up, but you'll see here I have Fried Taco Alt Clean, Push 1, Push 2, OD1, OD2, and OD Sat. And then I have Fried Taco Alt Liquid. So this is going to be the liquid profile. We'll come back to that, and you'll notice here it's based off the amp model Friedman B+E, but all the rest of these are just the Kemper generic. So I'm kind of giving the best of both worlds still, since we don't actually have a Pink Taco in this list of amp models that we have here. So here's how these sound. Here's the clean tone. I'm just going to use my Les Paul here on the bridge pickup. I'll let you hear these with some single coils after as well. So that's the clean tone. Moving on to the next level of gain, Push 1. Really digging that. Moving on to Push 2, the next level of gain. Really going for a vintagey vibe here. Works nice on the neck pickup as well. It's really digging the way that this amp worked with that beautiful aged Celestion speaker. On to Overdrive 1, next level of gain. Next level of gain, overdrive 2. Really trying to go for that nice, creamy, smooth overdrive here. And then finally, this was the OD2 SAT is the same settings with the saturation switch engaged. I was really digging those tones. Now let's take a quick listen to those when we're using maybe a single coil style guitar, like a Tele style guitar. So here I am with my Sir Classic T back on the clean setting bridge pickup. Go to the neck pickup. Nice stuff. Move on to push 1. Works really nice regardless of the pickup position, regardless of the type of pickups we're using. Really great tones. Push 2. Neck pickup. Overdrive 1. Overdrive 2. And overdrive 2 with the saturation switch engaged. So it works equally as well with the single coil pickups. Now let's move on to this liquid profiling. So what is this? So here I have my fried taco alt liquid. Now you'll notice here the amp model changes. So in the liquid profiling, we have this list of amp models from Kemper Generic, which is what was always used before to create different profiles, but that meant that the tone stack and the gain controls were not going to react like the real amp. How could they? They really just were capturing a snapshot in time. Well, now we can take an amp that we have captured and either find it in the list or find an amp that is extremely similar. Now, since the Friedman Pink Taco is actually based off of, as far as my understanding, the Friedman BE100, I figured it would be safe to choose that. So I've chosen that, and I recorded the settings I used when I created the profile, and I've burned those in. So now the gain, bass, middle, treble, and presence should all react very similar to the Friedman amp. So what we have here now is one individual profile or rig that should be able to go from the cleanest setting on that amp all the way up to the most overdriven, and the tone stack should work appropriately. So here we have a particular liquid profile I've turned the gain down. Neck pickup. Now, without changing to another rigger profile, I could just add a little more gain to this. And it really is reacting very similar to the real amp. I did do a previous video comparing how the liquid profiling works in comparison to just using different captures. It's quite surprising, quite impressive how it does work. So I can go all the way up to 10 with this. Now, what liquid profiling won't do is, as you remember, I said I engaged the saturation switch that's on the Pink Taco. Well, there's no ability to do that unless we had a different model here where it did include the saturation switch into it. There are still certain limitations to this, but the beauty of it is the tone stack should also work now. Much more like the real amp. You really see how we can shape the tone just with the tone stack. So very, very cool stuff, and it works really nicely. So in this collection, the Fried Taco Kemper Ultimate, you get all of the original profiles rigs, the clean push 1, push 2, OD1, OD2, OD2 SAT, plus you get all the DI'd versions, the cabless versions of those as well, plus you get the liquid studio profile and the liquid DI profile as well. So you've got everything you need there. The link is below to my website where you can grab a copy of those. But what other ones do I have also? You'll notice here I've loaded in my Deluxe Verb. This is from an older collection I had, and my Sold 30, which would be of my Soldano 30. So the nice thing with the Deluxe is we actually have that amp in here. You'll see on the liquid profile Fender or Fan Deluxe Norm. That's the normal channel, and I've done it for both the normal and the vibrato channel. Now, I also, with all these bundles, have the old style profiles as well, just for those who want to have best of everything. So here is this capture of this Fender Deluxe as a liquid profile. And again, we can crank up this gain to really push this into some overdrive. And utilize the tone stack. You'll notice here that it has bright cap intensity now included in the rig manager, which is a nice feature that formerly in the beta was only on the hardware unit. But in this case, there is no bright cap, so it's grayed out. It's only going to be there when it's appropriate. But we do have our tone stack, which should be reacting much like the real amp. So just some really spectacular tones here. We could move over to the vibrato channel. A little more gain here. A little creamier tone. We have the bright cap here now. So again, beautiful capture. So again, this is part of another bundle I have up on my site. I'm going to have the links below to all of my different Kemper profiles and rigs. It'll always be denoted on the site which ones include the liquid profiling. Even with some of the ones where the amps don't exist, I include the settings that were captured. So later, if those amps ever become part of this list here, then we will have them at our disposal and we can burn in those settings and get an accurate response from them. And I also did my Soldano 30. So you'll notice here, I've got the clean. And you'll notice here, since it's doing the clean channel of the amp, even when I crank the gain, only to the edge of breakup. But we do have the tone stack that we can mess with, just like we would on the real amp. So very cool stuff. Then we have the crunch channel. And again, that gain is going to react much like the real amp. Again, this is most likely from the Soldano SLO 100. I did the 30, but it's supposed to be very similar. So you're going to get away with this quite nicely. Then we have the bright version of the crunch, which is with that bright switch engaged. And again, we can use this tone stack to fine-tune things. Get some really beautiful tones going. Really nice stuff. And then we also have the full-blown overdrive channel. You'll notice the gain is only on 3.3 there. So some great tones there, really loving that. And we have a lot of flexibility now using the liquid profile. So the other change is we've added this bright cap intensity now when it's applicable down into the rig manager. We've also added some new amps. So here is the full list of amps. A lot of Fender style amps up here, Vox style, Roland Jazz Chorus, some different Marshalls, Friedman, obviously changing the names for obvious reasons, Orange, Boogie, Soldano, and here we have a PV5150. So we have all those. Now the other thing you can do is you could actually apply the tone stack and gain characteristics of 1 amp to a completely different amp and just see how it works. I mean, ultimately, if it sounds good in the end, it is good. It doesn't have to be realistic unless we want it to be. So it's kind of giving us the best of both worlds. So I hope you guys enjoyed that quick look at what this liquid profiling is and how it's now integrated in the actual public release. I'll have a link below to all of the different tone models you heard today and all of my Kemper Profile rig collections that are available if you're so inclined and want to even just go listen to some of the demos. It's kind of fun to just listen to some different music. I try to do a lot of work on those demos to really showcase the tones. All right, so there you have it. There is the new OS 10 Kemper update, now a public release. Go grab it. I'm going to leave you with some music, which is the full-blown in the mix demo utilizing my new Fried Taco Kemper Ultimate tone models. Altogether, this is a cool tune I did a while back with my really good friend Marco Miniman on drums and Jason Henry on the bass guitar. I want to let you hear how those tones work in a mix and layered, and I think they turned out really good, and I hope you enjoy that. And again, the links are below to all my rig collections if you're so inclined and want to give those a look. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. Please like the video, share it with anybody you think would get some use or enjoyment out of watching it. Also, please subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell notification to get notified when I put new content out. I'll be back really soon with some more. Thank you guys again so much for tuning in. Ciao for now.